Hey guys, and welcome back to another of my videos. So this is going to be the first week with my new Mustang. So this is day 2, and I'm just working on touching her face and touching her cheek. And here I think that was my first time touching her neck. I really like how she walked towards me here when I was backing away from her, because that kind of just shows that she trusts me and is confident in coming up to me. And she also did that again here. And here I am touching her down her neck, and that was my first time touching her shoulder. She did really good and handled it all really well. Here I'm just asking her to move her feet a little bit when I tap the whip on the ground, and then I did it on the other side. And she did go away from me, but she still moved, so I rewarded her, and then she came back. I do this because she used to be really stubborn at moving off of me, and she could be pushy, so that really will help with that. I don't love how she came towards me when I was coming towards her right here, because when I'm backing away from her, that's how I'm like inviting her to come into my space. But when I'm walking towards her, I kind of just want her to stay where she is and let me approach her instead of her approaching me. And so that was a little mistake, because she did it again here. I probably should have waved her away, but I didn't, so that was a little mistake there. Here I pet her down further on her back. She did that really well. This is session 2 of day 2. So here I'm just asking her to move her feet a little bit with tapping the whip, and then just petting her face and letting her get used to that. And I pet down her neck a little bit here. So I didn't do much on our session 2, so this is going to be session 3 now, because I didn't get very many videos of session 2. So right there you saw me kind of pushing her away because she got a little too pushy. And then here I'm just asking her to follow me around, which she did that really well. This is going to help a ton with when I start leading her. That way I'm not fully relying on just pulling her head, and she'll actually have some draw when I ask her to come towards me. So this is my first time introducing the halter or any type of new thing like rope to her. She did really well, and I was just rubbing her with it, getting her used to it. That way I could eventually halter her. So I practiced putting it over her nose, and she handled that really well. And then I practiced throwing it over her neck here. And that's all I did on that day. So this is day 3. Just petting her neck, getting her used to me touching her. I really like how she came up to me here. Shows that she has confidence and trust in me. And then here I pet further down her back, and she did really well with that. And that is all I did on session 1, and here's session 2. I have been cutting quite a few things out though of our sessions, because a lot of it is repeating what I've already shown. But here I'm just throwing the halter over her nose again, getting her used to that. I'm just rubbing it and putting my arm under her neck and getting her used to when I'll put the halter on her. So here I basically put the halter on, except I didn't leave it on, just to reward her for at least standing there. I took it off. So yep, she did really good. She stood there really well while I did that, and then I walked away and gave her a reward. And here I'm taking off her current halter and then putting the new one on her. So as you see here, I didn't get any videos from day 4 because that was just not a great day for us. I only got like one session in and it wasn't our best, so I just decided not to film. So here I'm practicing throwing the whip over her, and as you can tell, she was very scared because she didn't know what to do. She's never had me do that before, so I just rewarded her when she stopped, and I worked some more on that, but I cut that out because it was just a lot of the same thing. So here I put the lead rope on and started working on leading, and she was much easier than I thought she'd be. I thought she'd put up more of a fight, but she didn't put much of a fight up at all. So here she decided to walk off, and I didn't want to pull her because I knew she probably wouldn't listen. So I tried to use my body language and a little bit of the rope right here to stop her, which she kind of did, but she just backed up and was about to turn away and get herself tangled up, but luckily she didn't. So again right here she kind of walked off, and unfortunately she turned all the way around, so she kind of got tangled up and got spooked by the rope going over her back, which is kind of my fault for not desensitizing her better before I worked on this. So here I'm just untangling the rope a little bit, that way we can get back to working on it. So I just continued working on leading and make sure I ask her both ways. And here she walked off, and I tried to kind of correct her with the rope, which she listened but didn't quite turn over. And right here she did, and I rewarded her, but then she turned away again, and then she finally stopped. Here we got some really good forward steps, which she usually struggled on, so I decided to end our session right there. Here is session 2 of day 5, I believe. This was one of our best. I didn't really work on anything new, but she was just behaving really well. So I worked quite a bit on her following me around. That way hopefully she'll have some more forward momentum when I work more on leading. This was a really good one. She followed me around really well. I really like how she was like almost leading at my shoulder right here, so I rewarded her a bunch for this one, and that is basically all I did for that session because she was so good with that. And this is day 6. We started off with working on some more leading, and she was doing super well, much better than I thought she would. And then I worked on throwing the rope over her, doing some more leading, and I like how she's almost leading at my shoulder here, which is really good. Then I did some desensitizing to the whip with the rope on it because she seems to kind of struggle with that a bit, but she did super well, and I was touching it down her legs and everything. And then I threw it over her back here. She was a little scared, but nothing too bad, and handled it really well. And I always make sure to do everything on both sides. So here I worked a little more on leading and got her to walk towards me, and then we went in a little circle, and she did that really well. She did get stuck here a little bit, but she came out of it really easily, so I rewarded her for that. Then we went the other way to make sure we get it good going both ways. Here I started to work on back up a little. She's pretty stubborn about it, but I'm sure she'll get better once I work on that more. Here I was touching down her belly and down her back a little bit, and make sure I do that on both sides. And then here I was asking for her to follow me a little bit at Liberty, and she listened to that, so I rewarded her for that. And I did it again the other way, and I really liked this one because she was leading at my shoulder really, really well. And then I brushed her because she rolled in the mud because we got like 3 inches of rain almost, so she got really muddy. Here I was just introducing the fly spray to her, and she was pretty scared of it. I made a pretty big mistake here because I kind of sprayed her on her shoulder and she was not ready for that. And so when I tried spraying it, not even like at her, and it wasn't even touching her, she still got really scared and kind of went a little crazy there. But yeah, she was just kind of a little scared and not quite ready for that yet. So I was trying to untangle the rope here, and I had the whip laying over there and it touched her, and she got scared of that, and so she was trotting around. So I got her back and tried to just calm her down a little bit by petting her, and she was just not having it. So I tried to get her to stand still and at least just let me pet her, which she finally did right here. So this was after working on a little bit. She finally let me spray her just by her side at least, and that was huge progress. This is day 7. It's kind of crazy that I've already had her for a week, but here I'm just haltering her, and this is just good desensitization for her, and I've actually been leaving the halter off of her for the night and in between our sessions throughout the day. So again, I'm just working on leading, and this was a really good circle. She led at my shoulder. Even though it was pretty slow, she still was doing it really good, and we got pretty much a full circle. Here I'm working on throwing the rope over her neck and her back and just getting her desensitized to ropes. And I make sure to do this on both sides like I do everything else. And then I started working on moving the back, and she was pretty good at it. This way she did get a little stuck and was kind of confused on what to do. But eventually she got it here and actually crossed over her back legs pretty well. So again, just working on moving her back, and this time she crossed over her back really well. And then I just worked on jumping and desensitizing her to me a little bit, and she didn't really care much. And that was all I did for that session. This is session 2 of day 7, so I worked some more on disengaging the hindquarters, and then I worked on backing up because that'll help get her out of my space because she can be pushy. Then I did some desensitizing to me jumping around, and she handled it pretty good. Then I did some leading and just make sure to work on all that I've been teaching her to make sure she doesn't forget anything. Here I'm working on petting her further down her back. So this was her second time, I believe, that I did stuff with a spray bottle. She was doing it really well compared to the first time I introduced it to her. She let me spray her all over her shoulders and down her back a little. So yeah, she made a bunch of progress with this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!